for the HR management, but so many people have gone to Ultimate or Workday and carved that out of the ERP that they're just using the ERP for finance. And once you now carve out these other things, kind of what's left is the general ledger.
Huh. I mean, it seems like, definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you're kind of arguing that, like, is there to some extent, is, like, a solution like Coupa is kind of commoditizing the ERP layer, and, like, are they actually adding more value than the actual ERP in some ways?
Yeah, I think so. Because originally, if you go back in time on this stuff, there were general ledgers, like GIAC was a general ledger, that's all it was. And then, the old kind of mainframe stuff written in COBOL. And then these ERPs from, J.D. Edwards, Oracle et al. Came along, SAP, and said, hey, we're going to wrap it all up into this big product that talks to itself. We're going to call it an ERP. And we're going to have purchasing and HR and, all of these different things that go with it. Well, they've made those things so hard to use, and they dragged along all this legacy for so long that it's been kind of a tough road for them. And the new sales are going to companies like Workday, and you're seeing, or NetSuite, or some of these other ones who kind of reinvented the ERP. And that what's coming back now is like we're just going to stay on the general ledger. We're going to stay on Great Plains, we don't have any other modules running, but we're just going to keep that, and then keep that the system of record for the finances and payables, and then just build out Coupa or other modules around it instead of trying to go down that ERP road.
Interesting.
Because it's so expensive, and it's in not just the purchase of it, but the maintenance of it, and then the staffing you have to have for it, and all of that.
I mean, how hard is it? Because like a Workday has been trying to get into, and obviously they now have their own financial suite and kind of a cloud-based ERP. How hard is it even for them to sell that version, given this aspect, where they have like a cloud-based ERP, but is it worth like the long process to buy something like that? Because I guess one of the things we noticed was, and kind of listening to something that they talked about, was like this whole Scout RFP acquisition that they did, and how this seems to be a way that they can demonstrate that they're doing something else just outside of doing ERP. That might be another catalyst to get you to adopt their solution. So it almost sounds like they're having trouble getting people to adopt just the core ERP. So having this additional functionality is another kind of nudge.
Yes. So Workday's kind of rebuilding the ERP in an easier-to-use fashion. That's kind of the road they're going down. And Scout is a good acquisition for them. Scout was one of the faster-growing, innovative companies, so that one made a lot of sense because they had a purchasing module that was pretty easy to use, and it was that's kind of that whole face of Workday. It's easy enough to use for the casual user, and yet the powerful functionality is behind it. Not quite as powerful. I mean, if you're going to go build a car, you probably still want SAP. But for, many other medium-sized companies in that, I think Workday is a pretty good ERP solution with their purchasing functionality, but they were lacking that sourcing. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them go out and do some kind of acquisitions to continue to build out their suite, to kind of hit that full ERP and that fully integrated, pre-integrated, because there's still just a nice draw to having that suite that all talks to itself and not doing those integrations. But the problem being is that they're usually good at a lot of things and not great at the thing you need it to do. So it's kind of the trade-off, and that's where you get into the, I'm either going to go best of breed and integrate everything, or I'm going to go with the best suite that fits my business.
That's one of the things we've kind of thought about a little bit, is like, how much should we worry about, or if you were Coupa, how much would you worry about Workday's acquisition of Scout RFP and like their capabilities in this space versus a Coupa, given they'll be selling like the ERP as well as like now some of this other functionality. So I guess, how do you think about their overall like capabilities in procurement?